Welcome to my Sunday stream. Today I'm going to be working on the 7 t-shirt quilts that I have for commission. So I'm going to show you my process of how I get them from cut t-shirts into a finished quilt top. There are 12 t-shirts per quilt. I've got them 3 across, 4 down. There's a couple of different measurements depending upon the shirt. So the first step is organization. So after I cut everything, I actually took them to my place that the family center that I lay and pin all of my quilts, and I laid them all out, and I took pictures of every single quilt for the suggested way that I feel that they should have been laid out. And I sent the picture to the lady that commissioned them, and she took a look at all of them. She made one small change and gave me the green light to go. So the order of what they're in is good. What I'm going to do is now take each of the quilts in that order, double check, make sure that there is nothing else that each of the t-shirts needs, and then I'm going to make a mark to the place of where in the quilt it is. Because as I get working on the quilts, the layout may change, I may get confused, and I don't want to mix it up. We worked really hard on making sure that these t-shirts are in a certain order in the quilt, so I want to make sure they stay in that order no matter what I do and how I get everything organized. So, this is quilt number 1, and I've got pictures of everything just to make sure that what I'm looking at is correct. And how I'm going to do it is I'm going to use my little sticky notes, and I'm going to, sorry, I was just looking at the host. Oh, I have got a couple of my my team members that are hosting me, so thanks, team members, I appreciate it. I'm going to use my little miniature sticky notes, and I'm going to make the marks. So, this Team Boy t-shirt, this is row 1, the very first t-shirt. So, I'm going to put A1. So, A is going to be my rows. The numbers are going to be the columns. So, A1 is the first one. I'm going to go ahead and write A2 on here as well, because to save money and sticky notes, I cut them in half. So, after I put it on here, I'm going to make sure it's only that single one. I'm going to pin it in place. Because even though it's a sticky note, it's going to get moved around. Now, this sticky note right here, this is the one that I had on the bags originally. So you remember if you watched that stream, whenever I pulled everything out, I had a sticky note on there that said who it's for and the color of the sashing. So in this case, this is going to be the grunge ash, which I'll get to when I get to the next step. So, in this case, so A1, this looks good, that's fine. So, this is going to be A2, yep. And I am referring back to my pictures just to make sure that I have everything right. And then I'm going to move it over. And then A3 and B1. Because remember I said there are 12 t-shirts per quilt, so 3 across, 4 down. So, here's A3. Okay, and this looks like B1 is correct. Now, you may notice some of these t-shirts are longer, wider. If you didn't watch my stream on the cutting of the t-shirts. Oh, hi, B-Boop, how are you? If you didn't watch the stream on how I'm cutting the t-shirts, there are some t-shirts like this that have a large design that don't fit within the 11.5 inch parameters. So I had to make a couple of them bigger, meaning a couple of the columns needed to be wider, a couple of them needed to be longer. Hey, Stitch! So how are you guys this afternoon, evening? However it is. Let's see, this one is B2, and then I have B3. So, B2, it's going to be there, and this guy is B3. Okay, and then C1, C2, Alright, let me just double check to make sure there's nope, this is just a regular t-shirt. It feels like it was one of the workout shirts that he had. So C1, Cowboys is C2. Let me just make sure. Yep, okay, my mic is working. Okay, and this is going to be C3, and then I'm going to have a D1. Now, while I'm working on this, I am double checking to make sure the t-shirt is good. In this case, you notice how this is actually sealed closed. So I actually glued this closed, and in one of the streams I did show you how I did that. So this is C3. Let's trim this. Now I'm also, if I have any of these ends, I'm trimming them off. Okay, now I've reached D1. And D1 is the Jaeger shirt, and I've got this part of it pinned to the Jaeger shirt. So that tells me that in my planning that I wanted to have this appliqued on to the bottom. So I'm going to do that right now before I go any farther. And I did flip that one. There we go. In fact, I'm going to do it this way just so I know where I am in my order. So let's get this appliqued on. Alright, so first step is I'm stretching it all the way out, making sure there's no smooth marks. And I need to decide how I'm going to cut this. Let me do it this way. I'm going to put it onto my applique paper first. Okay, let me get my paper scissors. Oh, you know what? I've got a couple of pieces I can use instead of cutting something off of there. I'll use one of these pieces. No. Now, again, with the applique paper, this is the sticky part, so I'm putting this on the wrong side of the paper. I'm sorry, the wrong side of the t-shirt, because I want to make sure that it gets stuck on there just like this. And I'm ironing it on both sides. So I'm making sure that it's really on there. Okay? Now I'm going to cut it while the paper is still on there, because it's going to give me a stiffer backing in order to cut it. Now I am doing raw edge applique for this. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to look at it, smooth some edges, make sure I like that. Okay, and I do. I like that. Okay, and I'm going to set this aside because this is now going to go in the scraps with all of the other scraps of the t-shirts. Alright, let me score it. I've been doing this a lot since I learned about this cheater method. Just an easy way to get the applique paper off. There we go. And there is my symbol. So let's get this added onto the t-shirt. Now before I iron this on, I'm going to iron the t-shirt. I just turn the steam off just to make sure it's off. Because I want to make sure that the space that I'm putting the applique is perfectly flat. And it won't stretch after I add it on. Okay, and then the next thing I'm going to do is get my ruler. I'm contemplating trying to Oh, you mean the scraps. That, you know what? If you want, sorry, if you can't, if with the chat, it is Stitch is the lady who has commissioned these. I'm thinking if you want, I can show you, because the only issue is that whenever you do the strips, it's not going to be long enough for a single strip of the t-shirt in order to actually go all the way around to tie it. So I could take a couple of the t-shirts and actually cut them into strips and then just sew them together, and then you would have them long enough to do that. When I get them all finished, if you want, I'll go ahead and I'll take the measurements and see how long of a strip we would need. That's actually that's a really cool idea. I like that. Okay, so I've got that. So now I'm taking my ruler and I'm measuring. This should be 12 inches, and it is. So what I want to do is I want to place this right in the middle. So let's mark this 12 inches, and then the 6 is right there. So I'm actually taking the cross that's at the top of the Jaeger symbol, and I'm having it line up perfectly with that 6. And that is how I know that it is centered. And it is appliqued on. Okay, so when I finish all of the quilts, I will pull out the bag. And even though this one probably is going to get thrown away because obviously you see it's got the applique, things like that, I still wanted to save all that just in case one day if you wanted to just kind of randomly sew all the pieces together. All right, now, gray, a dark gray. All right, that's fine in the bobbin. Let me get a dark gray for the top. This one's good. Just make sure, yep, that looks good. And yep, there. My house is a little chilly today, hence the sweatshirt. It is, it's actually nice outside, so we turned the heat off. But the problem is that my studio is in the basement, so it's a bit chilly down here. Alright, now, these are the stitches on my machine. I'm going to use, let me use that stitch, the blanket stitch. That's a good one for applique. And I'm going to do two things. The first thing I'm going to do is just a regular applique stitch around to hold it down. And then I'm actually going to go around one more time with just a straight stitch just to make sure it really locks it in. So the blanket stitch is going to be first. Now, this is the same technique that I'm going to be using when I actually quilt these. You notice how slow I'm going compared to how normally fast I go? The trick to doing t-shirt quilts is not rushing it, going really slow. Because the moment that you rush, you're going to stretch it, and then you're going to have a pucker. Now, I don't use any interfacing, so for those of you that have made t-shirt quilts, a lot of times you use interfacing, you use applique paper, you do something in order to stiffen it up. I don't do any of that. I just do the t-shirt, the batting, and the backing. So, because of that, I do get a little bit of puckers. There's no way around it unless you use the interfacing. But my t-shirt quilts are super, super, super soft and cuddly. Just like the t-shirts whenever you wore them. No, I may not even need a straight stitch for this one. Oops. Sorry, I'm just trying to trim the edges. And the edge has... There we go. Good. Now, I don't need a straight stitch on this one. This one has sewn nicely. So I am done. Alright, and here is the applique. Now, you notice there's a little bit of puckering right here. That's because of the stretch of the t-shirt. So once I actually do the quilting on it, it'll stretch a little bit more, and the quilting will actually nail this down. So then you won't actually be able to see this puckering up as much. I know, don't you love it when things cooperate? A lot of times what will happen when I do this is it won't cooperate as well. So then I have to actually do a straight stitch all the way around to make sure it's really held down. But this t-shirt's fantastic. It's a lot better than some of the ones that I've dealt with before. Because as you know, whenever you have t-shirts, there's different consistencies. And there's different materials, even though they're all cotton. Okay, so this is... Oh, that's right. I had my phone, and I moved it because my mother texted me. Even though I told her I was streaming, and I'm not going to answer. Alright, so this is the D1. This is, and then I'm going to have D2 and D3. Now I am going to go through all the t-shirts because it's just going to be easier. Yep, that's D2. It's going to be easier as I move along if they're all just ready to go and ready to assemble. And then this one is D3. For some reason, I always want to flip the lantern symbols upside down. Luckily, this one's got a little thing right here. It says trademark DC Comics, so I know that this is the correct way. I made an embroidery quilt for someone that that does an iPod There's a podcast that I really like, and he was expecting a child, and so I did a quilt with all the different lanterns on it using embroidery. Yeah, when I was assembling that thing, I kept wanting to flip them. I had to look. I'm like, wait, which way does it go again? I don't know why I do that. Okay, quilt number 2. So, let me bring this one up. Come on. There we go. Okay, quilt number 2. Okay, it's going to, so we're back to A1 and A2 again. So A1. A2. A3 and B1. A3. Now, I did not close the pockets. So I did glue these shut here, and then they're going to be sewn across, but the pockets I've left open. So that's something where if someone has a quilt, if for some reason they want to hide something in there, you can do that. All right, so A3, but all of this is glued shut. So that way the batting can't come out. Okay, and this is B1. Yeah, I know, right? It's something about the lanterns where I'm like, that doesn't, why did they do it that way? It looks better the other upside down. Okay, and then it's going to be B2, B3. And this is C1, C2. Come on. All right, it's going to be C3, D1. So like I said, I'm looking for a couple different things. I'm making sure this shirt is what is in the picture. It is in the correct order. That's what's in the picture. And there's no additional sticky notes on there because there were some of them that I needed to recut and redo after I laid them out. And I made notes to myself, so I'm going to make sure that there were notes on there. So here's D1. D2. D3. Alright, so that one is good. Okay, I didn't see any notes on this one, although I think they're upside down. I'll just flip these for now. Now, for the plain ones, I'm going to look on both sides just to make sure that this is the top. Because some of them, if they were the back of the t-shirt, if there was a cool label in there, I don't know if you could tell in the picture stitch. So, like, for example, the Batman backing, inside it said DC Comics and actually had a really cool label that was inside of it. So I made sure that I cut it in a way so that you could see that, so the backing would be like right here. So for the plain ones, I'm double checking to make sure it's not one that had a cool backing, and the backing is up. All right, so this is quilt number 3. So this is A1, A2. Yep, it was 4 that we made changes to. Just making sure. Okay, so here's 1. Okay, just making sure I flip that one upside down. Here's 2. Fantastic. I was going to ask, but then I thought, no, you would want that. I'm just going to go ahead and make that decision. Because it's the first time that I have used backings of t-shirts that didn't have a design on the back. So it's the first thing I thought of. So now I know for future t-shirts, if they want the design on the front, I'll look to see if that is in there and say, hey, do you want the back as well? That's what it's actually doing these t-shirts is giving me even more ideas for the queen size one that I'm making for the gentleman from MagFest. Because that one's not due until, that's the one that was before you in the line, but that's not due until next January. So I don't have to worry about getting it done soon. So that's the one I'm kind of just working on as I go. Whenever I have some downtime and I don't have anything else to work on, I'll work on that. All right, that was A3. Okay, so this is B1. B1, yes. And I'm excited. Fantastic. Sorry, I'm getting Skype messages from my graphic designer, so I'm all excited. He's going to message me tomorrow with some designs and stuff for my channel revamp. All right, so this is B1. Let me write B2, B3. This will be 2. Making sure, yes, that is right. I think there's only 1 or 2 on there that I put notes that had to be redone. And of course the one that was appliqued. Okay, B3. Now the ones that had a tag on the back, that was just like a regular tag that said Gillian or Gildan or anything like that, I didn't keep those. Oh, also, in your bag, when you go through all the scraps, one of these shirts with the pocket had a business card in there. So I took it out and I put it in the bag so that you had that business card too. I didn't want to forget. C1, C2. C1. That's correct. That is good. Seeing the missing button reminded me of that. C2. And C3. Oh, this is the back of the... I'm trying to think. I know the t-shirt that this was, and I can't think of which one it was. Okay, so this would be C3, D1. Yeah, and all of this planning that I'm doing right now, if you're watching on YouTube, to see how I do t-shirt quilts, all of this planning is preparation for all of the sewing and adding everything together, and it is completely worth it. If you have blocks, I do the same thing with the charity quilts with the Sprite Stitch cross stitch blocks that I make, or that people send to me and I turn into the charity quilt. I do the same thing with the layouts, because once you've decided on a layout, you don't want to mess it up. D2, D3. Now, with the work shirts, these were weird as I cut them. So if you look, it looks like it's kind of offset. It's kind of lopsided. Don't worry about that if you have shirts like that you turn into quilts, because it'll all work out whenever you add it all together. Whenever you sew it all together, it'll be fine. And D3. To make sure. Now the next one, I actually started making all of my notes. I actually started that this morning, and then I realized that, oh, wait, I want to actually be doing all this planning on my stream. I don't remember. I don't remember if it was his or if it was someone else's. I think it was someone else's. Like he had grabbed a business card from someone, just shoved it in the pocket kind of thing. When I finish with this step, I'll go grab the garbage bag of stuff that I've got, because I want to put that in there anyways, and I'll see if I've got it on top. I think I just kind of threw it on top. Okay, so this one already has one. It's A1, and I know it's already good. This one was A2, and that's where I stopped. So I need A3 and B1. And this is number 4. So A3 and B1. Now, there was 1 or 2 of these shirts. If you do shirts like this for your t-shirt quilt, there was 1 or 2 of them where the button was right here. So I actually had to cut the button off in order to then cut it. So if you have button shirts, don't let that deter you from putting them into your t-shirt quilt. It's possible. Got to pin that on there. There we go. Okay, B2, B3. Yeah, I remember the first time that I got business cards. I was like, I got business cards. It's an actual business card. B2. B3. C1, C2. C1. Okay, now this is the one that we switched, so this is the new C2. Let's make sure there's nothing on the back. Nope. Okay, so this is going to be then C3 and D1. Now I should be able to get through at least one today. Whatever quilts I get through today, tomorrow is my pinning day. So I will get it pinned tomorrow. I may or may not quilt it before I leave for C2E2, but at least I'll get it pinned. Okay, D1. D2. D3. Now, if you look at my commission list, and this is for everyone, you notice there's 7 quilts here. On the commission list, I actually have listed quilts 1 through 7. So on this one, in my notes, I actually have a number 1. So this tells me that this is quilt number 1. So when I go through my commission list and update it with pinned, with pieced, pinned, quilted, finished, I can actually update the correct numbers. Okay, so this is D2. Oh yeah, this is one that has the Dallas Cowboys, so this is the back. So this part of it cut off here, but you can actually see the whole thing. So you know that this is the backing of the Dallas Cowboys. D3. Okay, next, quilt number 5, A1, A2. And I'm at the end of that one. So I've got another one. I think I may be in quilt number 6. I have to do a recut. Need 2. Here's another one that's a backing. Here's another one. You probably couldn't see it in the picture. This is the Someone Asks You to Drink Responsibly. Tangerine. Yeah, I don't know. I can't read who asks you to drink responsibly. Alright, so this is A3 and B1. B3, B1. Oh, there we go. Here's one that I need to recut. Yeah, I knew there was at least one. It's in this one. Okay, so this is one. Apparently I cut it a little bit too big. So this is a 15 or 15 and a half. 15 by 12. Okay, so it is a 12 wide by 15 long. So 12 wide, 17 long. Okay. Alright, there's that. I'm just going to cut it right here. Now I'm using the lines on my cutting mat, so I'm going to line it up at the 15, and then I'm going to cut it at the 30. Yep. And there it is. Okay. That's done, so I can take that off. You know what? It might be the Bushmill. Yeah, because it wasn't it wasn't the Jaeger shirt. I know that. So yeah, you're right. That may be from the Bushmill shirt. Okay, and bring this back down and bring those back down. Okay, so this one was B2. So B2 and B3. Now I did have, in my picture, I did have an orange sticker that stuck out better than the yellow, and the orange was the ones that told me that, hey, by the way, dummy, you cut this wrong, you need to recut this. It's always better to cut it wrong too big than too small. B2 and B3. That's the only problem with the t-shirts, is they stick to each other. Oh, if you didn't see my other streams, if you're just watching this one, whenever you have t-shirts and you iron them to make sure they're nice, be careful of shirts like this. This is actually a, I'm trying to think of what it's called, vinyl. It's a vinyl shirt, so it's actually got the vinyl on top of the cotton, so it's not sublimated in there. So if I were to press this with an iron, it would actually melt and come off onto my iron. So it's not a good idea to ever iron vinyl shirts. So don't do that. Okay, so B3. Okay, so the next one's going to be C1, C2. Okay, C3, D1. Oh, that's right. This is one of the ones that Now, in this case, it was one of the ones that had holes in there, and I wanted to make sure that I doubled it up. It looks like some of the applique glue is coming loose. So before I put this in there, I'm actually going to re-iron this one, just to have the glue adhere a little bit better. The only downside to this iron is I can't put it on something to give it a lot of heat and walk away. Hey Amber, how are you? There we go, much better. Alright, but I want to have this be the front, because it's nicer. It doesn't have wrinkles in it. Okay, so this is D1, D2, and D3. Thanks for the host, Amber. I appreciate it. I am doing well. I was considering doing something else today instead of the t-shirts, but I was like, no. Tomorrow is pinning day. Really would like to get 1 or 2 of these t-shirts done. Oh, and this one you can't see in the picture stitch, but this is the Marvel one. It's the, you can see the Marvel thing right here. It's pretty cool. So I at least want to get 1 or 2 t-shirts done so that I can at least get them pinned tomorrow during my pinning day. Because I have 3 hours. I have 3 to 6 is when I'm pinning. Hence why my stream doesn't start till 6:30 tomorrow. So I only have 2 quilts to pin right now and a whole bunch of pictures. So I was like, you know what? That's only going to take me an hour and a half. I want to try to get some other stuff done. Okay, that's 5. Here is number 6. Oops. I keep wanting to go that way, and it's this way. All right. This is the Jessie James shirt. So this is A1, A2. So my plan for tomorrow's stream is quilting, because I'm going to be pinning everything. I want to work on quilting things. Maybe finishing my dinner as I start my stream, but still, I'll get it done. And then Tuesday I'm off. Wednesday, if I haven't finished binding the quilts, I'm going to start with binding. And then I'm going to cut quilt kits. So you can see how I rotary cut and how to put my quilt kits together for all my patterns. And I'm not sure, I think Thursday I'm not streaming, but I'm not sure if I'm going to stream on Friday or not. I may or may not. And then I am going to stream either Saturday, Sunday, or both. So look at me, I'm talking and I'm losing my place. That was A2, right? Yep, A2. Okay, so this is A3, A4. A3, I think that's the back, yeah, A4. Nope. See what I almost did? There is no A4. That's B1. See, and that's why I double check everything. B1. Okay, B2, B3, I This is C1, C2. So I don't think I can live stream when I'm at C2E2 for the setup, because I was looking at the internet specs, and I don't think the wireless internet they have is fast enough. And I'd have to pay $500 for a drop for a wired internet. Don't think I'm gonna do that, unfortunately. But what I may do for setup, I still want to videotape our setup and show everyone. So what I may do is just video it or Facebook Live it, and then upload that to YouTube. C2. Okay, C3, D1. Okay, D2 and D3. Now on this t-shirt, the very top point and bottom points are going to cut off a little bit, but it won't look bad at all. It'll still look fine. I couldn't make it any wider and have it fit nicely. And D3. Alright, that's quilt number 6. Quilt number 7. I actually think this is one of my favorite quilts out of all of them. A1, A2. This is the back of the Red Lantern shirt. I just wish it had a cool thing, and it doesn't. And here's the back of the T-Turtle shirts. A3, B1. B1. B2. B3. Oh, I'm getting a little hungry because I had a late breakfast, so I haven't eaten lunch. So, Amber, you'll appreciate this. I was trying to figure out something I could bring down as a snack. I brought some Ghost Scout cookies. They really are. Only downside, I can't talk when I'm chewing. Those and Do-si-dos. Love me some Do-si-dos. Okay, C1. Aha! then this one, C3, is the back of Batman. I'm like, I knew there's a whole bunch on here that I really liked, and I couldn't figure out why. It's because all the backs of cool shirts. Okay, so this is C3, and then there'll be D1. I'm also, whenever I look over here after I flipped it, I look for the pin, just to make sure that I put a pin to really secure the Post-it note. Okay, D1. And last but not least, D2 and D3 for quilt number 7. Now, I don't do this marking until I get approval from whoever commissions it that they like the order. There was one of the quilts that I did, I actually had to, it was a queen size quilt, lots and lots of t-shirts. I actually had to redo the order a couple of times because they said, well, what about this, this, this? Okay, so move everything around. You know what? I don't like it that. Let's do it this, this, this. Okay, move it all around. Doesn't bother me. Because I want to make sure that you are happy with the way it's going to look. All right. We've got everything marked. So let me clean my area up. Really? I didn't know that. These were shipped. I remember I told you I bought 2 cases that were shipped to my parents' house, and I brought them home. So these came from Girl Scout directly. So this bakery is in Richmond, Virginia. I never realized that. The different bakeries had different things. Okay, I'm going to hold on to those because I need them within reach. Let me move those back over there. Putting those away. Putting that over there. All right. Time to get working. I'm only going to work on one at a time. So I'm going to take the entire stack and I'm going to put it out over there on the other side of my computer. So let me find where this ends. I think it's right here. Yeah. So this is quilt number 1. Now quilt number 1 is super important because I'm going to try to have something special done to this one in June. So even though these are not due until next November, I want to get these done because, get them done and finished. So let me move this entire stack here. But it's important that this one gets done before June. And if it happens, then I'll tell you guys about it. Alright, so I need the Grunge Ash, which is this fabric, one of my favorites. It is Moda Grunge series, and the color is ash. It's a nice gray. It's pretty cool. So for all of my sashings, I'm going to use a 3-inch sashing. So I'm going to cut it 3.5 inches. So let me get my big ruler. Move those down. And oh, that's really off. Go. And that's my starter. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do whenever I put these together is I'm going to put the rows together, and then I'll assemble the, after I assemble the rows, then I'll put the sachet, I'll put the outer border on. So in this case, I'm going to put it on A2, so all of the middle ones, I'm going to put the sashing on the right and the left, and then take the 1 and 3 and then sew them in. I think that's the easiest way to do it. So I have 4 rows. 1, 2, 3. I can get at least 3 per strip, maybe 4. No. 3. So I need at least 2 strips plus the assembly. I'm just going to go ahead and cut 5 strips for now to make sure I have enough, because I know I'm going to use at least 5 strips. Oops. I still haven't changed the blade in my rotary cutter. 5. Okay, set that aside for now. Always, always, always iron before you do anything with it, just to make sure all the wrinkles and everything are out. Oops, let me put my steam back on. Okay, alright, that's a 1. Here's a 2, so I'm putting this on the left and the right. Now, it's easier when you're doing this to have the t-shirt go on top of the strip. Now, it's a little bit harder when you're actually sewing it because the strip is the small piece underneath. It's super hard. You've just got to make sure it stays nice and flat. But what this does is it makes sure that as I'm sewing, I'm not stretching this. I'm just sewing it nice and easy. Okay. And the same thing for this side. And I'm just smoothing to make sure that everything is straight and it meets. And this is definitely something you want to make sure you have enough pins. If you don't have enough pins, it will bunch and it will move. Okay, this one is ready to sew. Right there. Okay, and there's A3, there's B1, B2. Oops. Well, it looks like something happened right here. There's a tear in the shirt that I didn't see before. So I'm going to fix it. I'm just going to add a little applique paper on there right now. So this is what I use to fix. This is the 007 bonding agent, quick invisible mending, no sewing required. And there it is. This is parchment paper. Just gonna, whoops, way too much. Dump the rest off. Okay, and then I'm going to take this and fold it over, turn the steam off, and iron it. And what this does is it fixes any cuts, any issues. This is also how I fix old quilts that have started to wear and fray. I use this stuff, and it doesn't fix it, but it stops it from spreading and it stops it from fraying. Now I just have to wait for it to cool. So, I'm going to work on this side while it's cooling. It's too small of a scrap, so I'm just going to throw it away. Okay, next one. I'm just going to set this here just in case I need it again. Oops, need my steam back again. Okay, that's good. And that's good. And what this is it's like, just like a little bit of plastic. Okay, although I am going to re-iron this. It looks like it didn't iron all the way. I want to make sure it's perfectly melted and perfectly in there. And once I sew all of the sashing on, you won't be able to see the difference. You won't notice that it was fixed. There we go. Alright. I'm going to set this aside just for the moment, because it's got to dry. So there's B3, C1, C2, Much better. Much, much better. There we go. Perfectly fixed. Yeah, it doesn't make a difference the order that I sew those in because I've got the letters and numbers on there. So even though I've taken this one out of order, doesn't make a difference. Okay, one more. Okay, so there's C3 and D1, so D2 should be right here. Great. And let me iron this area over here a bit. Because I had to cut into the actual arm of this one, this fabric is actually a little bit bulkier than the rest. So how I'm going to handle this is like this. I'll put the pins in here. I'll start from this end. Now as I get here, I'm going to just bunch this up here and fold it over. Because I would rather include this than everything else. The reason why I did that is because the pocket and the buttons, if I would have come over right here, it would have looked lopsided. This way, the pocket is in the center and you have the part of the shirt there. Right, and then you have another bunching right there. Right. Extra there. All right, let me get these sewing. All right, this is going to go back. This is going to go back. The reason why I put the presser foot down whenever I thread the needle is it's just a lot easier. So I have more space and I have more room to actually put my fingers and to see the eye of the needle to put the thread in. Oops, come on. There we go. Oh, I still have the applique stitch and the J-foot in there. So get the J-foot off. I'm going to go back to the 1/4" piecing foot with the guide. And my bobbin thread's almost out. That does not make a difference. When it's out, I'll just switch it and put it back in. Now, this shirt is not a t-shirt. It's just a regular dress shirt. So, I don't have to worry about it stretching and moving. And I can sew normally. And the bobbin thread is out. Alright. Now for the first t-shirt one. Now, at all times, I'm making sure that nothing's pulling on the t-shirt, and I'm sewing slowly, because I don't want to stretch the t-shirt. I'm not putting any pressure on it. And I'm not pushing it into the machine. I'm not pulling it. I'm letting the machine do the work, and all I'm doing is guiding it. Okay. And I just want to show that to you. No puckering at all. So as long as you move very slowly with the t-shirt, you won't have any puckering. No puckering at all. Still have to do the other side though. Alright, here's the other side. That one's done. Okay, so 2 down, 2 to go. And last. Yeah. Okay. On. Don't want to lose that one. That's D. That's B. C. So this should be D. Yep. Or A. Okay. Let's do one at a time. So I'm ironing, and I'm ironing the fabric. Actually, yeah, I forgot about that. So iron towards the t-shirt. Have the fabric solid. I forgot about that. The reason you want to do it that way, and you want to do it on the backhand side, is because the t-shirt is stretchy and flimsy. The fabric itself has more structure to it. It's stiffer, so you don't have to worry about that. And then it'll actually give it a little bit more support. And then you don't do the front because it could have the vinyl on it, and you don't want to melt any of the designs. There we go. Here is block A2. So let's get A1 and A3 on there. Oh, can't believe I almost forgot to trim the fabric. Now I'm lining it up here and here. And you notice how I am trimming some of the t-shirt off. It's because it stretched a little bit when I was doing it, so I'm squaring it up again. There we are. Okay, let's do A3 first since I'm already on this side. So now it should line right up. Just like that. There we go. And I'm going to double check. Yep, it's facing the right direction. Here's a 1. Same thing. I'm making sure it doesn't get stretched out. I'm making sure it's lining up. There we go. So row 1 is done. I'm just going to take it and set it right there. Okay, row 2. Oh, that's right, in this case. In this case, I have to do it on this side because of the fix. There we go. Just got to be careful not to touch the design, and then I'll re-iron it on the back. There we go. Okay. Just double check, make sure my cut over here is right. Yep. Okay, so that is B1. It's going to go here. Go. Yeah, can you tell that that area right there is fixed? That's definitely a 3-foot roll. Even I'm having problems seeing it. I love that stuff. Go. Okay, here's B3. Okay, second row's done. Oh, you know what I just realized? I didn't change the title of this stream. Hello. T-shirt quilts. There we go. Okay. Because I finished the Hyrule quilt last week. Yeah, while you're working with t-shirts, you've got to be really careful not to move them in a way that's going to stretch them so they are not perfectly square. Okay, so C1, let me grab C3 since I'm on this side. Oops. This one didn't quite square up properly. There we go. Now, you notice how I flipped that one around and it's a plain black square? Nothing on it? Does it make a difference which way I sew this on? Probably not, but there are some squares that have been cut at different shapes. So the 12 by 17, the 12 by 15. It looks like it's a 12 by 12, but just to play it safe, I am only sewing them in the direction of the letter that I put on there. Just to make sure. Alright, row C is done. And last but not least, row D. This one's having a little bit of issues because it's the one with the sleeve. There we go. Perfect. No, here's one here where I had to cut the button off, or else it wouldn't have laid flat, wouldn't have laid nicely. So if you see buttons, don't be afraid to cut them off. Okay. Okay, so two, one. You can see the stitches for my applique. Three, or things like that where I think it looks better upside down. I don't want to confuse myself to the way it's supposed to go. Stupid lanterns. Why is it doing that? There we go. For some reason my table isn't against the wall all the way. Okay, and fourth row is done. So now I get to sew them together. Same thing as the last time. I'm sewing with the t-shirts on top, the fabric on the bottom, and I'm going to go slow in order to make sure that I am not going to bunch up any of that fabric. This is what takes the most time for a t-shirt quilt. It's just having to go slowly. I took that pin out because it was going to bunch up there a little bit. So I took it out and stretched the bottom fabric as well as the top fabric so that there is no bunching. And it's fine now. I've never sewn a workout shirt. I thought it was going to be worse than a t-shirt quilt. It's not bunching at all or moving at all. This is great. I'm still not going to go full speed just because I'm not sure and I don't want to bunch it up. And of course there are some t-shirts that are stretchier than others. Okay, that one's done. But you know what? Let me clear away my scraps here. There's no more trimming for the rows. It's a nice day outside, so I'm sure people are taking their dogs for walks. Because that is Soleil's, there is a dog walking in front of us, Bark, and I don't want you walking in front of my house, Bark. Okay, there's that one. Actually, yeah, I was going to take off the pins here, but I'll take them off back there. 3. Four. All right. Before I iron all of those, I'm going to make sure I have enough strips. So I have 4 rows, so I need 5 rows for the strips. So I have 2 already, so I need to cut 3 more. And still 3.5, because I want the rows for the sashing to be the same as what I put in between. I said every time I cut now, I've got to change the blade. Great. Okay. Now for row A, I'm going to add it on the top and the bottom, and then everything else I'll just add it onto the bottom. So the same thing, I'm going to have the fabric press the seam, so I'm going to be pressing them away from the center. And then that way, my fabric that I chose is more stable. Come on, open up. There you go. And it gives me a little bit. There you go. More reinforcement. I couldn't think of the word I was going to say. Alright, now this one I've got to be careful because it's so close to the edge. There's no way I can do it from the front, so I'm going to do it from the back. Because again, I don't want to melt any of the design because it's a vinyl. There we go. And there's my row number 1. Let's make sure it should be 42, 43 inches. I should have enough for a single row without adding anything onto it. So it should be 44 inches. Yep, perfect. Now with this one, again, I've got to be careful not to stretch this t-shirt whenever I'm putting it on. So, the easiest way to do that is it's supposed to be 12 inches. So, technically 11 3/4 because I've taken off a 1/4 inch here. That's perfect. So, I'm going to move this down and pin that first. Okay, and from corner to corner here should be 11 1/2 inches. No, that's right, this one's wider. Okay. I forgot that I have a row of wide. What did I make this one? I must have made it 14. There we go. That's good. I am just going to fold this up a little bit, just so it's not in the way. I can move that down a little bit. Sorry, I'm just doing my measuring. Eleven and 3/4. There we go. Perfect. Okay, and now this is row A. Remember I said I was going to put my sashing on the top and the bottom. And then after I add these on, the next step is to then sew all the rows together. Now, I don't need to measure this side because I have measured it already. As long as it's a straight block and I don't warp this side of it, I'm fine. Okay, that is square. And I fold it just to make it more manageable when I'm putting it into the machine for the rows, because I don't want it to be so cumbersome that I have a problem and it bunches up. I got to do the seam first. Okay, now I am going to set this one aside because I want to sew it first because it's double. Because I have a row on the top and the bottom. Okay, and again, doesn't make a difference which one I grab because they're all going to be on the bottom now. Okay, and then I'm going to iron them out from the center. Go. I think that's enough of a seam. So, just like I did with the first side of the other one, I'm going to move this over. This should be 11 3/4. I'm going to move this to 11 3/4. So I can take this shirt and make sure the ends don't bunch up first. And it looks like it's stretched a little. It's just a matter of moving the shirt around to unstretch it, just to get it back into the form it's supposed to be in. There it goes. I'm going to add some extra pins into this one just because it did get a little stretched and I don't want it to stretch back out again. I can almost guarantee I stretched it a little whenever I ironed it by accident. There we go. Now this one. And I'm not adding a top onto it, so I'm going to go ahead and start rolling it now. Okay. Go. Oh, Depths World, thank you very much for the follow. I just noticed that. I appreciate that. Okay, that's what happened. This one stretched out a little. Okay, let me pin this one into place. Yeah, that's what I thought. So this one stretched out a little bit. It's actually a little too long. So I don't see it going back, and it's one of the work shirts. So what I'm going to do is fold this over and actually trim it right here. Okay. So this needs to be at the 11 3/4 mark. Yeah, see what's happened? It's a little off. Nope. And then when I put this back down, I should have enough room. Yep, there we go. Okay, so put that back again. There we go. Perfect size. And that one's ready to go. 2 more rows. Doing t-shirt quilts takes a lot of patience because you're working at a much slower pace, especially for someone like me, because you see how fast I sew through things and how fast I make some of these quilts. So doing something like this is a little different for me because I have to purposely slow myself down and make sure that I am doing it right. There's that row. Measure this. Okay, 11 3/4. Perfect. That's the problem with t-shirt quilts sometimes, or t-shirts, trying to quilt with them, is they tend to roll. And you can't have a rolled bottom. Now, it does make a difference whenever you're sewing it. You're not going to catch that because it's on the very bottom, but it makes a difference for how it lays and making sure that you have the correct measurements and it's out the way it's supposed to. Come on. There we go. This one looks like it could stretch easily, so I'm going to put some extra pins in there. And of course I've got another Alliance member. I'm Lyra, that just hosted me, so if you guys get a chance, check out her channel. She's part of my So Be It Alliance. Okay, 11 3/4, perfect. Okay, there are 3 rows. And here is my fourth row. Okay, 11 3/4. Perfect. Okay. Now, this shirt, you notice right here, this is the button seams. So this is the button seam in the front that I glued together. Whenever I'm actually sewing this, I'm going to have to be very careful because this is 3 layers of fabric right there plus the glue. So I'm going to put some extra pins around there and in there, just to make sure it stays and does not move. Should be 11 3/4. Yep. So I guess you have to finish cleaning before you can eat something. I actually have a beef stew going in the crock pot upstairs. I have it set, so Jordan's supposed to go and stir it every hour. I've heard her come up and down the steps, so I know she's been doing it. And I have it set, so it is supposed to be finished at 6 o'clock when I'm finished streaming. Great, and this one is done. Alright, so I have all 4 of my rows. Let me grab my first one. Oh, yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. It is, I added a little bit of soy sauce instead of Worcestershire sauce, just because I wanted to see how it's affect the taste. And add little spices to it because Mike and Jordan like spices in their stews. Alright, so I had this rolled up when I was working on the rows, so I'm going to actually unfold it a little bit at a time, and I'm moving just as slowly as I did when I was adding on the sides. So I have to make sure that I am not going to bunch up this fabric. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I think it's going to be good. I also added some onion powder, just to give it, I have onions in it, but I want to really get that taste of onions. Tomorrow night I'll probably just eat fast food or something, because I'll be coming directly from the family center to pin home to stream. Don't, not that cat. It's Mimi. Sometimes I think she just wants to be on camera. She doesn't do that a lot if I'm sewing and not streaming. It only seems to be while I'm streaming. And I can move a little faster whenever I do it that. Crock pot. So I put it on the crock pot. I had it, the recipe that I use, you can either go 12 or 6 hours. So 12 on low, 6 on high. So I've got it on high because I actually forgot about it until 11 o'clock. And I'm like, oh yeah, I was going to make that stew today. I love crock pots. Just stick it in there and not have to worry about it. You know what? Oh no, I don't like the crock pot going when I'm not home. I was gonna say maybe I should make onion soup or some kind of soup tomorrow in the crock pot, but no, because now if I'm gonna be gone for a couple hours. So looking at the time, I predict, oh, that is a great husband. He just messaged me asking if I want him to go to the liquor store and pick up some Caesars. Caesars are a Canadian alcoholic beverage. I had never heard of them before I started dating Mike. And I came up here and everyone's drinking them. I'm like, what are these things? Caesars are like Bloody Marys, except, yeah, see, I know I can leave it running at work, but I'm just so paranoid. Really, really paranoid about having things run when I'm here. So Caesars are like Bloody Marys, but they're with Clamato juice instead of tomato juice. So it's a lot thinner. It's almost like what are those called? Well, you get the margarita, oh my gosh, I am drawing a blank. My brain is not working today. Coolers. It's more like a cooler than it is a thick drink. So, and you can get them spicy or mild, just like you can with Bloody Marys, and they are so freaking good. I love Caesars. I don't know why you can't get them anywhere else. I don't know why it's a Canadian thing. See, and I just think Bloody Marys are just okay. And I didn't think I would like Caesars, just because I think Bloody Marys are okay. I think the tomato juice makes them a little too thick. Even if you put a lot of vodka and other stuff in there, it's still a little too thick for me. Oh, I'm going to concentrate because I've got this. Oh, good. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. All right, good. But then the first time I tried a Caesar, I was like, oh my gosh, this is fantastic. I love this. Whenever I get invited to parties when I'm in the States, I always try to bring some Caesars with me so people can try them. So looking at the time, Cats! Seriously! You're not allowed up there, and now I'm going to have to... Let me do it now while I'm up. So, as I was saying, looking at the time, I predict I'm going to get 2 done. I think I'll get through this one, and I'll get through another one. I may or may not get started on a 3rd, but I don't think I'm going to finish a 3rd. I know, right? Hestia, I gave you water, I gave you food, I brushed you earlier. I can't pay attention to you now. And it's not even because I'm talking, because she can't hear me. Silly cat. Alright, 1 row done. Yeah, she really just does whatever she wants. It's funny, whenever she decides to go upstairs, and the dogs get near her, because they either want to play or they're curious, she hisses and swipes at them. Just like sits there, just hisses and swipes, like, what do you think you're doing? Go away from me. And of course the dogs are all afraid of her. Well, especially Alfred, because she's like twice his size. And she has claws. So that's scary. There's 2 done. How does it look? Are the vegetables starting to get soaked in the stew? Okay. Alright. Last row. Okay. I scared myself. I thought I put this on backwards, but no, I didn't, because I saw this, but no. Okay. It is done correctly. For some reason, I was thinking that this was the front side, but it's not. And I've done that before, so I totally do not put that past me. Just making sure he didn't say anything else. Yep, out of bobbin thread. Oops, come on, get out of there. Go in. I can tell it's time for me to get my nails done because they're getting way too long. And it's hard for me to do certain things. There we go. All 4 done. To do it that way. Come on. It's fighting me. There we go. And I'm ironing it so that the fabric is straight. And it'll give it a little bit more support, just like I did with the side sashing. And I'm going to do it on both sides. I normally do it just so I can see a little bit above my nails is when I cut them down to. Just enough so that they look nice and that they have the coating on there to protect them. And I can use to stop the needles. Oh, it's over here. Couldn't find my rodent cutter. Okay. Okay, and this is B. So I want to iron and trim A next. So that I can then combine them both together. Here's A. I know that one's A because it's got it on both sides. I don't like them too long because then I can't get stuff done, but I need them long enough because I actually use them in my sewing. Whenever I put pins in, I use my nails to stop the pins. And getting my nails done has protected my fingers before, so I've run over the tips of my fingers a couple of times, but because it's got this protection, it hits it and it breaks the needle. Now, because there's two sides, I'm going to iron it on this side for both, and then I'll flip it over and iron the back for both. It's just easier that way. And for those people that like to iron their seams open, this is not one that you can iron the seams open, just because the t-shirts are so stretchy and your cotton fabric is stiff. It's just a lot easier to iron the seams with the cotton fabric, giving it more structure. Now, if you were doing no sashing at all, so the other type of t-shirt quilt that I have on my site, where it's just t-shirts to t-shirts, that is one where you iron the seams open. There we go. I love this fabric. The grunge series is just so stinking cool. Oh, it's just not laying right. Oops. There we go. And just like with everything else, fabric down and t-shirt laying on top. Alright, now, here's the trick. Whenever I'm putting this together, I want to try to get these columns here in line with the column above it. Now, I can't see it because I have that fabric there. So, how you do it is this right here, this seam is right there. So, I take a look here and I line it up and then I bring it straight down. Alright, so I'm going to go a little farther. Okay, and straight down. So I know right there, that's lined up. And now what I'm also doing is I'm feeling here, because you can feel the seams up here as well. And that's now lined up. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. Oh, hey, Doug, how are you? So I'm going to pin this first. And then I'm going to go back through here. And we're going to pin this corner here. And then we'll stretch and move and make sure all this here fits. And again, this is another part where it's super, super thick. So I'm going to put a couple extra pins in here just to make sure that it stays put. Now you can definitely have too few pins. You can never have too many. I'll throw that one away because that's a bent pin. There we go. Okay, and same thing. I'm going to slide this down, and I'm going to do the same thing on this one. So, lifting this up. Now I'm ignoring all of this because they're t-shirts. You can stretch and move them as you need them. Doug, what are you doing overdoing things? You know better than that. When we reach a certain age in our lives, I'm the same way. I've got to watch what I do and how much I do it. Okay, that's lined up. So I go straight down and pin it in place. Okay, and now I'll do the middle t-shirt and then I'll do the end t-shirt. And it'll all be lined up. I like how I lecture you and Amber says, oh, I hope you feel better. I do hope you feel better, Doug. But don't overdo it. Alright, get that. Were you working on your transmission? Or were you playing with your new leatherworking tools or the stuff, the light stuff for your new theater show? And I'm folding this over to make it a lot easier to sew. And then I will fold this up. Because again, I have only this limited amount of room. I want to make sure I have plenty. Okay, so let's do the other two. Oh, yeah. You know what? It's not because of my medicine, it's just something that I have. I can't be in the sun for too long as well. When we were in Orlando, Mike looked at me at one point and said, okay, you've had too much sun, we need to go inside and sit down for a bit. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? Apparently something happens to my face and I get red and yeah. So no, I completely understand that one. Okay, I'm not going to lecture you on that because I understand on that one. Jordan came down and the dogs think that Jordan's going to feed them. Oh, husband's home. He went to the gym for a bit, in case any of you are wondering where he was. Kind of vampire-like. No. I don't think sunscreen would help. It's not a matter of burns, because that's what sunscreen does. It protects your skin. It protects your skin from the sun. It does not protect your heart or your brain from the sun. So what's happening? Oh, I think I may have to iron this the other way. What's happening is it's going to your head, and it's a matter of being overheated. So I don't think sunscreen would help at all. I think it's just a matter of you have to, I have to wear a wide brim hat so that the sun's not on my face. So you have to wear wide brim hats and stay out of the sun as much as you can. I think I did, Amber. I gotta double check, but I believe I did. I may have him bring me one because I'm getting thirsty. I get some water first. He's bringing all of his groceries in. And grocery shopping too. When I hear that he's all the way in, I'll ask him. Okay, there's D. Hey, Mike. You're a good husband. Yeah, he didn't answer me. Okay, and here's the C row. You can tell it's starting to take shape a bit. Go. Goes away. Right, here's row D. And row C. What am I doing? C goes down, and then D. Stay. There we go. That's about right. C, then D. Okay, so this one first. Okay, I'm lining it up, making sure it's good, and then down. No clue why the dogs are just barking now. I imagine there's a squirrel out there. No, I didn't. Hey, Mike. Can you ask your dad to bring me one, please? Go. Thanks, hon. I gotta show them what a Caesar looks like. Plus, I'm thirsty. I'm gonna drink one. Now 6.
Nice.
Yeah, and that camera's off. It's only this one. So, this is a Canadian Caesar. It is, see how it says Clamato Caesar? It's a Mott's Clamato juice is what it's made out of. They are delicious. Yeah, I know, squirrel. Squirrel? What? They are fantastic. What's it? Yeah, no ingredients. Oh, there we go. Ingredients. Water, vodka, tomato paste, glucose, fructose, something, something, vinegar, salt, citric acid, molasses, seasonings, anchovies, onions, spices, natural flavors, garlic, dried clam broth, red chili pepper, and color. And of course, he got me the mild because he knows I don't like too many spices. That's good. I'm the kind of person when I drink my Caesars, I always have to have water too. All right. It is. Oh yeah, Doug, you weren't on when I was talking about it. So, Caesars are you can't get them in the States. It's just in Canada for some reason. Whenever I started dating Mike, I was introduced to them. I'm like, what are these things? I don't like Bloody Marys. Are they Bloody Marys? They're not. It's like Bloody Marys, but it's with Clamato juice instead of tomato juice. So it's a little bit thinner consistency. So it's more drinkable. Like a cooler. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for earlier. It's like a cooler. But they're delicious. And so Mike went to the gym and grocery shopping, he sent me a message earlier asking if I wanted one. I'm like, yes, please. Hi, Marley. Are you coming down to beg me to feed you? It's not time yet. You gotta wait a little longer today. Mike?
Yeah, sorry.
On the floor, you mean? His clothes are not in the dryer anymore. Oh, well then you've been making Caesars, Doug. You haven't been making Bloody Marys. Bloody Marys are with tomato juice. Caesars are with Clamato juice. So you've been drinking Caesars and you didn't even know it. You know, if you want to bring your guitar down here and practice, I'm sure people that are watching my stream would like that. Jord?
Yeah, I know.
All right. Jord is taking guitar this semester at school. Don't you have a test tomorrow in guitar?
Yeah. I also have 2 science projects due and 2 art projects due.
Well, the art, you're almost done.
Already done.
You are done? How's your science projects going?
I have to do one more thing for the science.
All right. Oh, that's right. I was going to put my scrap in there, and I'm like, oh, wait, hold on. I've got another one to do. Okay, there's one. I may not even get 2 done today. I've got at least 1 done, and I've got them all organized, so they won't take me as long in the future. As you see with these rows, once I've got to do them. Oh, see you later, Doug. Once I line them up, I can try to move a little faster sometimes because I've gotten them really lined up and reinforced. There we go. And 2. Right. Same thing. Whoops. I flipped it the wrong way. I'm going to flip it this way. Because I want all of the fabric to be straight. And iron it towards the shirts. And it is starting to come together. Oh, I lost my little mark that said B2. That's okay. It's around here somewhere. This is the point where they start falling off, but it doesn't matter. As long as I have 1 on there telling me which row it is, that's all I need. Okay. And then here is C and D. Salads are fantastic. Okay, so same thing I did with the other ones. I'm going to put it around where I think it's going to go. Fold it up. Oh, no, a little close. Judge it. Okay, that's good. Put it down. Check it. Okay, that's good. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's pretty spot on. I like that when that happens. Yep, that's good. I can hear Mike playing with the dogs upstairs. There we go. Alright, final sew, and rows will be together. Yeah, 2 hours is about right for assembling the actual quilts. Because it took me an hour, oh, there we go, to get it all ready. And it'll take me about 2 hours to make this. Yeah, so I'm not going to get a second one done. But that's okay. I'm getting at least one done. Oh, do I have the other one still on there? No, I guess it's here. What are you doing, Marley? There we go. Alright, so top is done except for the right and the left. Dang it, it was that way. I don't know why I thought it was upside down. Except for the right and the left borders. So top, bottom, border is done, sashing is done. I just need 2 more borders. So how I'm going to do that is, let's measure how long the quilt is. It should be around 50 to 60 inches. No, it's actually longer than that. Oh, that's right, because I made it longer. Alright, so it is 68 inches. And that sucks. Because if it was 2 inches less, I could have used 1.5 strips, but because it's not, I have to use 2 strips per side. So I gotta cut 4 more strips, sew them together, and then sew them on. Same exact size as the others, 3.5. Now, the nice thing about this set of quilts is we're using this fabric for another of the t-shirt quilts. So my scraps that I'm going to have left over, I'm going to set aside and use to do the sashing for the upcoming quilts. So it will not go into my scrap bag for Patreon followers yet. I know, you're starving. Oops. There we go. I'm just looking at colors I have for backing. Okay. Guys, stop. They're playing and they're knocking things over. Soleil, come here. Come here. I love you very much, but you're being a pest. Yes, you are. You're being a pest. Okay. reason why I keep looking around is I'm looking at all the Kona fabrics that I have to see color options. Okay. Alright, let's get the sides on this thing. Now you see I'm doing the exact same thing as I did when I did the rows. I'm making sure it's a perfect square, so I'm not stretching it any more or less than what it was before. Securing the sashing with the seams first, and then going back through and putting the t-shirt. This one's going to need a couple extra pins. I think it's going to stretch. Okay. Okay. Hi, Somadou. How are you? I hope I said that right. Alright, so there's that side. Now for the last border. Oh, thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate that. And Zumado, is that the right way to say that one? Let me just call you Zoo. Oh, fantastic. That's awesome. Is he an artist? Yeah, C2E2 is a good convention for the, oh, that's so funny. His name is Tony. Oh, that's awesome. Tell him I have a vendor booth, and my booth, the name is under Craft Hackers, because I share it with a couple of people. So the studio that we use in order to share under one booth is Craft Hackers. So we're actually over by the Artist Alley. We're like right next to the food court. I should just look up the booth number. Yeah, C2E2 is a good convention to do for pop culture for the Midwest area, for Chicago. It's basically the New York Comic Con of that area. So that's a pretty good one to go to. Yeah, and if he's been to C2E2 before, he's probably, this is the 4th time that we're going to be there. So if he's been there before, he may have seen my booth. It's kind of hard to miss it. I call it my big monstrosity. I was actually looking up TwitchCon yesterday because I was kind of curious when it was and how much it would be to be a vendor there, to bring my quilts and pillows and patterns and everything there, even though it's in California. So the dates would work for me. So I sent them an email asking about it, and they're supposed to send me more info in May. I think it'd be interesting. They said about 20,000 people go. All right. I have got both of the sides on here. So let me do my final stitches for this quilt. Oh, I imagine, because if it's TwitchCon, then anyone that's watching or anyone that's actually streaming on Twitch is probably there. The reason I was looking into it is the Imperial girl who heads up the alliance that I'm in for So Be It. She's going to be there, and she's going to have a booth. So I'm like, you know what? If that's something that she does, I'm kind of interested. Maybe I will go. And I don't do any conventions on the West Coast. So that'd be nice to get out there and do that. So I wonder if it's just people attending then. Oh, hey, there's my A3. Uh-huh. That would be interesting. Yeah, so it's something that I'm thinking of. I haven't, obviously I've got to wait for the package for them to send it to me so I can see what it is. Alright, then I'm going to sit here while I take the pins out. I have a bunch of doggies down here telling me that I need to go upstairs, but that's not happening yet. Because during the week, whenever I start streaming, about 5:30, I feed them before I stream. So they're like, hold on, what are you doing? You're feeding us late today. It's time. Soleil, hey, leave it. I know, I know, Marley, I love you too. You're very cute. I know. I know. You're very cute. It's still not time yet. Go play with Soleil. Oh, that's a good boy. Give her kisses. He is a kissy doggy. Oh my gosh, he loves to kiss other dogs. That is his thing. Let me run up to this dog and give him lots of kisses. I know. Oh, that's right. Yeah. He got a haircut the other day. Come here. Up, up. He's so fluffy. Come here. Oh, come here, fluffy doggy. Come. Oh, there we go. Oh, he got a haircut the other day, so he's all fluffy. Hi. I know you're not too sure about this, are you? All right. And come here, Slay. You want to come up too? Come on. Yes, because you have to be the center of attention. Say hi. It's not time to eat yet. All right, go play. Stop. Thank you. All right, let me do the ironing, remove the things, and show you the finished quilt. Oh, I got to trim the edges too. All right. This way. You know, just thinking Caesar with stew sounds really good. Okay, that side is done. We have some good animals. I put, there's two brothers. So Marley's groomer is fostering two brothers right now, and they are adorable, and they're so sweet, so nice. But they're bonded, like majorly bonded, so they have to go as a pair. So they're having a hard time finding a home for them. So I put their pictures up on my Facebook just because they're stinking adorable. And I was hoping someone around here in London area could adopt them. There we go. Alright, let me trim them. Okay, so stitch. Backing. I don't remember if we talked about that or not. Normally for backing, I use black Kona, which is a really good high quality black. It's just a nice solid color. You don't see the backing, and if you've seen my quilts at shows, which I know you have, I don't know if you've ever flipped over and looked at the back. I use Kona black for everything. It shows dirt less, shows wear and tear less. It is fantastic. I can do that, or I have a chocolate brown I can use, and I have enough dark gray for 1 or 2 quilts. So those would be your options. So it's up to you for the color. If you wanted any other colors, they would have to wait until at least May for me to pin them, because I would have to order it. Alright, let me take all of the sticky notes off, and I will show you the finished product, because it is done. So this one, if you want me to pin this tomorrow and make sure it's done by June, it would be black, chocolate brown, or dark gray. And it's just regular solid color. Like I said, most of the time I use black. Yeah, see, and that's why I always use black anyways, just because you don't see the schmutz. It is, and when it starts to wear a bit, you don't see that. So the black is, and honestly, when this is on a bed or you're using it, you're not going to see what's on the back. So, okay, so I will use black. Fantastic. Here is your finished quilt, or your finished quilt top. There's the bottom. So, 1 down, 6 to go. Yeah, it's a twin size, so it's a lap size. I'm sorry, I keep saying twin. It's a large. I always say that because the lap for the laps for the t-shirt quilts are so much bigger than my regular size lap quilts. So, large lap is what I should say. There you go. Yeah, black is a wonderful color. It is fantastic. Alright, so you've got that one done. I will get it pinned tomorrow. I don't know, like I said, if I will get it quilted before C2E2, but I will definitely get it done before the beginning of June, so that I can hopefully get done what I want to get done in June to this quilt. So that one is done. 1 down. All right, let's get started. I'm not going to finish it, but let's get started on the next one. Quilt number 2. Oh, sorry, baby. Didn't mean to scare you. I scared Marley. Alright, let me pull my scraps from the last one. And I can start those first. Let me go ahead and cut a couple of strips. Oh, and this one is also grunge ash. For those of you that aren't stitched, we're using the same fabric for this one as well. Because, this is a really cool fabric. Okay. Two. And if you're just joining us, I have gotten one t-shirt quilt finished, and I'm starting the second. I'm just going to cut until I would have to roll this open, because I know I'm going to use them all. I think you picked wise for fabric for that quilt. I really like the way this fabric brought some of those t-shirts out. Stay. Okay. Alright, so A1, A2. Oh, it looks like the B row is super long. That's okay. You know what, I'm going to use that for B. Yeah, I'm going to use that one for B2. Nope. And maybe not. Oh, hold on. I'll be right back. Let me go check my stew. My husband says it's boiling. Hi, I'm going back down. It's not time for you guys yet. I'm sorry. When I went upstairs, the dogs got all excited. They're like, oh, is it time? Is it time? No, it's not time. No, that's not going to be enough. Oh, but it would be long enough for others. No, I'm just going to use it for this. And that's enough to stick in my scrap. I'm like, what, when you're welcoming back, who are you talking to? I realize you're talking to me. I wasn't gone that long. Right. Is that one long enough? Yes. Okay, so this will be there. I think if I get the rows themselves assembled, that'll be a good start for this quilt. I may just add the sashing on for here and call it a day. Okay, there's A3. Oh, and stitch. On this one, there's a small stain right there on the shirt. That kind of made me smile a little bit. Oh, this is B1. I don't want to add them onto B1. I want to add them onto B2. I didn't think there was enough shirts. C, D, D3. There we go. Would help if I grab the right number of shirts. It was funny. I almost, whenever I saw that and I was cutting it, I almost sent you a message asking if you wanted me to switch it out for one of yours, but I'm like, no, no, no. That one's mom. That's appropriate. Okay. Three. C1. C2. Okay, there's 3, and 1 more. C, D1. Okay, and then after I finish the rows, I'm going to cut enough of the sashing, cut enough of the 3.5-inch strips, so that I have all of them ready to go, so it's easier the next time I work on this. Okay, there's 4. And now you may see me move a little faster for this one because I'm used to working with the t-shirt material again and with the stretch of it. So I may be able to move a little faster without stretching it. It's a lot different than working with regular fabric. You just need not just slow, but you need a gentle hand, which I normally do not do when I sew. So I've got to get back into the practice of it. Okay, it's both sides. That one's done. There's 2. think I did both those sides already. Yes. You can tell whenever I start to get, my legs start to hurt a little bit, I start to get a little tired, if I sit a little bit more whenever I do stuff like this. I can tell I have been streaming for almost 4 hours. My legs are starting to hurt. Whenever I'm not streaming, if I'm sewing, I'll sew, do computer work, sew, do computer work, back and forth. So I know next weekend is Easter, but I'm planning on streaming at least one, if not both days. We don't do anything in our house. I think George's mom is coming up, so she won't be here. I may as well work, right? Okay. Same thing. I'm leaving the fabric straight, so I'm putting the seams toward the t-shirt. Right. Oh, I put it right there. I hate it when I put my things where I normally don't put them. Just measuring it, making sure it's good. I think that's 2. Yeah, it needs to go out 1/4. There we go. And that's a D, so I'm going to set that one aside. A, B, C. Oh, you know what I don't think I've mentioned on my Twitch channel before? Hockey. So, something you may not know about me is I am a huge Washington Capitals fan. In fact, I have season tickets. So whenever I go down to visit my parents, I try to go to the hockey games. Unless it is playoffs. So for playoffs, obviously I'm not going down in April because playoffs start this week because I've got C2E2 next week. So I'm planning on going down in May after Free Comic Book Day, of course, because I've got to do Free Comic Book Day with family. I'm thinking the Sunday after Free Comic Book Day. Sometime that week I'll go down, depending upon the schedule. And I don't come home until the Caps are out of the playoffs. Now, history says that maybe after second round. Hopefully, it's not till after my conventions in June. Because I've got AwesomeCon in DC, which is the second weekend of June. And then I've got Too Many Games, which is in Oaks, Pennsylvania, which is the third weekend of June. So my hope is that I get to stay all through those conventions and then come home at the end of June after they've won the Stanley Cup. So, that being said, I don't know how many streams I can do while I'm in Maryland. Of course, I was able to do the one with Stitch whenever we were picking out her t-shirts, so that tells me that I do have the ability. Their internet is good enough. But I don't know how I'm going to set it up. I'll figure something out. I may talk a friend into letting me go over to their house and set something up for sewing. And if I can convince Too Many Games to give me a wired internet access, I'm going to stream the whole show. Because Too Many Games is a video game convention, and it is fantastic. It's a smaller one, but it is great. I love, the people that run it are amazing. I love them. And they have always been good to me. Okay, E, and then now A. Look at that, I did that one nicely. Yeah, 548. Okay, so here's my plan. I'm going to finish cutting this. I'm going to assemble all of these cuts, the additional 3.5-inch strips I'll need, and then I'm going to call it a night. And go feed the dogs so they stop bothering my husband. Alright, so here's A2. I need A1. Okay, and here's A3. Hey, Iron Bands Graham, how are you? You are catching me at the end of my stream today. I've already made one t-shirt quilt, and I am pinning the rows for the second, cutting some strips, and then calling it a night. Okay, so did I put that on the right way? I did. All right, great. Just making sure. Okay, there's B2, so here's B1. All right, I think I'm going to trim. This one looks like it's stretched out a bit. So let's see how much I need to trim it. About 1/2 of an inch. Okay, so when I'm trimming after they've stretched, I have to make sure that I trim it in a way that it's not going to affect the design in here. So I think I can cut off 1/2 inch on the bottom and I'll be okay. Yeah. Alright, so I'm going to cut a bit off the bottom. So at the 1/4 inch you still get the design. There we go. Much better. The rest I can deal with. Now remember, when you're doing this, never have too many pins, because you're keeping it from moving while you're sewing them together. Especially something like this where I know it's been stretching, so I had to trim it. I want to put extra pins in the side. Double check, make sure I put it the right way. And here's B3. Nope, and that was perfect. Great. Okay, there's that one. Let's see. The dogs say they're hungry. They're still gonna have to wait. Yeah, I'm not even gonna have time to cut the rows. That's okay, I can cut them the next time. Six! My husband wanted to know when I was feeding the dogs. There we go, we've got that. Okay, so tomorrow is a late start, 6:30 to 9, because I am pinning at the family center. So I'm pinning my quilts. I'm going to pin this one and pin the other two, and it's going to be quilting day. I don't know if I'll quilt this one, but I'll definitely quilt the Hyrulean Shield, and I'll quilt the Final Fantasy panels, the photo panels. If I get time, I will also work on binding them. And I also still have the link that I have to finish quilting that. So I may work on those two and the link, because the link's got to go to C2E2 as well. And then Wednesday is finishing up whatever I didn't finish on Monday. So if I didn't get to binding, I will bind. And then after that, I'm going to be making quilt kits. So I'm going to be cutting all the fabric for my patterns to turn into kits for C2E2. And then Wednesday, I'll make a decision of when I'm streaming Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. If I'm streaming, when, so on, so on. And then next Tuesday, I leave and I'm gone for a week. Because I will be in Chicago. We are going this way. There we go. Okay, I've got all 4 of my rows done. Oh, come on. I may not be able to pick you up for a few weeks. So I want you to lay nicely for me, please. There we go. And then I can put this onto this. Here are the other 5. So I can sort just like that. So, fantastic. Not that bad. I didn't get as much done as I was hoping, but I forgot how slow this process was with the t-shirt quilts, and how slow I have to actually sew to make sure there's no puckering or stretching. So, but that's okay. Now I know I'm back into it. I'm good to work on those whenever I come back. So, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for joining me. I really appreciate it. And I may have a new layout this week. I'm talking to my graphic designer tomorrow, so I'm super excited. So, thanks, guys.